Oh my god, it's video games. We are back here again to talk about video games. It is the middle of the hot summer here in Virginia, where it is just like completely uninhabitable at this point, and it's humid as all hell. So I'm inside doing some cleaning, and well, I have a little bit of time. I figured maybe this will make for kind of a fun little extra video, especially since, you know, I've been so kind of strapped for time. I can kind of do this off the cuff and actually talk a bit about the other half of my collection that you all don't usually see. So what you usually see is obviously that's what's upstairs. That's in my actual bedroom where my main shelf is, where the majority of my collection is. However, I do have this other shelf down here that is about half full at this point with just a bunch of miscellaneous consoles and collections and stuff like that. So I figured this might be kind of fun to just kind of look through some of the stuff on this shelf here, as it is kind of just a smorgasbord of stuff. And yeah, so let's kind of just start with the top here. We got Bob Ross and Hoppa, but we have the like limited edition, special limited run collector's edition of Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. This is really one of those dumb things I really wanted to own. I saw it and I was like, okay, hell yeah, this is one of those cult classic games. You know, everybody's pretty much familiar with it at this point. And it came with an actual tie and a couple other really dumb things in there. I saw that and just had to own it. I'm really glad I did get it. It's really stupid, but again, that's one of those fun collection pieces to have. And then, of course, right next to it, you know, the greatest video game of all time. It's not Chrono Trigger. It's not Earthbound. It's not, you know, Super Mario 64. No, it's NSYNC Get to the Show. Obviously, the greatest game that's ever existed. I want to say that this somehow made it into my collection when I was a little kid, probably about 5 or 6. I think maybe one of my neighbors or one of my friends left it at my house, and I've had it ever since. Rightfully so, because who the fuck does not want some NSYNC Get to the Show on their video game shelf? Absolutely, you gotta have that. That's actually, a matter of fact, that is a prized possession. That's a grand piece de resistance for any video game collection. You ain't got NSYNC Get to the Show, ain't a real collector. Not a real collection. Fake it, throw it in the garbage. Get it out of here. Anyways, behind that, we got a bunch of Wii stuff here on this side before we really get into the Switch stuff. But yeah, we got a handful of like Japanese games up here. Got Reg and Leave, which is this kind of like horde fighting game. It's like a, oh, what's the fucking video game series where you're fighting all the giant bugs? There's a bunch of them out there, very much B series of games. This is like the fantasy version of this, came out of the Wii. Not the greatest game, but still kind of interesting. This is one of like the Simple series. Yeah, like the Simple Wii series. This is just like a little like shooting game, and I really am fascinated by like shooting games on the Wii. Some channel reviewed this and introduced it to me. They were kind of a small channel. If I can find that, I will put it in here. Here we got the Conduit, which is again another really interesting first-person shooter on the Wii. That was kind of one of the first big, like, ooh, look, the Wii does have some cool games kind of things. Not a bad game. Conduit 2 is a better game. Sonic Colors, people swear by that game. I kind of understand it. I like the 3D levels in that game, but there are a lot of really, really awful 2D levels and gimmicks in this game that I actually really don't understand the hype all that much. The Last Story, pretty famous RPG for the Wii. This is a Japanese version. I wanted to own it in some way, shape, or form, and I just don't want to shell out the like $80 to $100 to get a US version now. Oni-chan-bara, which is of course just was stemmed from one of the Simple 2000 series on the PlayStation 2, and God, what company is it? Just kept rolling with it and kept making them, and it again kind of became like a cult classic. Yeah. This is not a great game, very mindless beat 'em up, but still pretty fun, honestly, all things considered. Alright, let's kind of fix this. Look at this, we're just getting like a thing monster amalgamation of Nintendo consoles right here, as they're all desperately clinging to one another. Scoot these over a little bit. Alright. Oh man, Sin and Punishment 2 Star Successor, an amazing game. Highly, highly slept on Wii game. A couple years ago, I think this was going for actually like a little bit more money, which was about the time when I bought it, of course. And now, okay, to be fair, I've not looked at the prices here recently, but I think it's definitely much cheaper, maybe more towards the $40 range, where I think I paid closer to $60 for it. But that is a fucking awesome game. I will be reviewing it at some point on the channel. Right beneath it, Apuna weirdo RPG that has like motion controls built into the battle system, which honestly I think is this game's kind of downfall. I would like it a lot more if it wasn't quite built around that. However, the double-edged sword of that is that's kind of what makes this game really interesting, and I was kind of sold on it by Pete Dorr by saying it's kind of Earthbound-like in the way that it tells its story and how goofy and like not self-serious it is. So I picked it up. Again, that's another kind of expensive one. If you can find that, go ahead and pick it up. Underneath it, Mad World, one of Sega's greatest gems on the Wii right there. Amazing hack and slash. Actually, is it Sega? Is it Sega and Platinum? I think it might be. It's Sega. It's Platinum Games. I think this is a Platinum joint. Yep, right there. It is a Platinum Games joint as well. You know, that's mostly a mark of quality. Getting down here to the actual shelf here, I mean, we got Dead Space Extraction, which is a game I bought and just have not played yet. I really do need to get around to it as a fan of the Dead Space series. Weirdo little, like, light gun shooter for the Wii, exclusive to the Wii. Red Steel 2, cool shooter. SNK Classics Volume 1, great little collection of Neo Geo games in there. I got a funny story about that I'll be telling at some point. Next up, string of Rock Band games, and man, what I gotta say is when like Rock Band and Guitar Hero coming out, they were a genuine phenomenon, to the point that I remember it being a really big deal when a kid kind of up the street from me got Rock Band. He was the first kid in the neighborhood to get it, and my friend came down to tell us, yo, Matt is gonna let us borrow Rock Band for the weekend. Dude, you gotta come and play it. And it was like a literal like neighborhood event, to the point that my parents, who mostly do not play video games, took me up to my friend Steven's house to play this game, where his parents played the game with us, and then my other friend's parents came up and played the game with us. Like, it was a literal whole big event to be able to not just play the guitars, but play the drums and sing. It was really kind of crazy, and I don't really think I've seen gaming bring people together like that, or since Rock Band, with the exception of maybe like Pokemon Go. But the Rock Band games are fantastic. I think I like the first one the best. I think that is mostly due to nostalgia, and actually I think the set list on that one is pretty good. However, the Beatles Rock Band is an amazing love letter to the Beatles, who are one of my favorite bands of all time. And just the presentation and how everything is done in that game is really just like beautifully and artistically done, in such a way and with such care. Fantastic way to dig into the Beatles discography if you are somehow not familiar with them. Next up, we get a little Japanese game here, and I believe this is Fatal Frame 4. Oh no, this is the Fatal Frame 2 remake for the Wii. So somewhat recently here in 2026, they kind of officially remade Fatal Frame 2. I've actually just been playing through a bit of that in the last couple days. But this was done in like, I don't know, 2011 or something like that. And this is another really good one that takes advantage of the Wii. And for anybody who's kind of complained about the changes in the new remaster of this game, yo, check out this Wii version. It came out in Japan and it came out in Europe, so there is a way to play it translated. But this is a really good version of Fatal Frame 2, which is my personal Fatal Frame game. Here we have New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Not the biggest fan of this game. I think the new Super Mario Bros. Games peaked with the first one on the DS. I think that is a fantastic game, and I think it was really all downhill post that. Mario Kart Wii, classic, fantastic game. Skyward Sword, not really a fan of this one. I'm definitely more of a fan of Twilight Princess. I actually still really like this game. Pokemon Battle Revolution, I have not played a ton of this, but my good friend Suri would come over and play this all the time. Some stories go along with that. Here, of course, we have some of the Guitar Hero games. We play, actually, going back to Guitar Hero, 3 was the first one I played, really loved that. I've always loved 2 more, never did, and still don't own a copy of that game. But Smash Hits was a pretty clutch way to compile a bunch of songs from like the first handful of games, and really give us some of those great songs from 2. We Play, it's fine. Super Smash Bros. Brawl, classic. Alien Syndrome, Spider-Man. I don't really know if I have much else to say about the Wii collection here, other than I have the 2 Tony Hawk like skateboarding games that are fucking terrible, and I just remember trying to play those very briefly and just being like, yeah, this shit fucking sucks. This is a steelbook for Sonic Frontiers. I got this when I bought it, and I think like day 1. Maybe not even day 1, maybe it was, I don't know. But they gave me the free PS5 steelbook with my Switch version just because they had a bunch of extras. I was like, word, I'll take that. I guess kind of going back up top here, handful of Switch games. I like to collect a lot of Japanese Switch games because a lot of them have the English on them, and Play Asia has a lot of good stuff. El Shaddai, really cool PS2 game. They got a Switch remaster. Here's the Choaniki collection. Ooh, man, Bakeru, great game. Talked about that one. Gosh, what was it, my 2024 wrap-up video? You got the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. Shout out to my coworker Chaz, who accidentally bought a second copy of that and gave that to me. Oh god, there's a story that goes along with the Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid Burst Forth Chorogan Breath. That is somehow an ArcSys shooter, and it is literally absolute garbage. It really feels like a phone game that they somehow managed to grab the Kobayashi-san's Dragon Maid license and just slapped it on there last minute. Clock Tower Rewind, amazing version of Clock Tower. Definitely pick that up. Namco Collection, or the Namco Collection. Buy the Japanese version. This is the Japanese version. It has a better selection of games on there. SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy. I think I talked about this in a pickups video a while back, probably a couple years ago. Great little underrated SNK Shoujo fighter. TMNT Cowabunga Collection. Pretty Presents Collection. Let's take that up here. This has got a couple different games in here, but it's most famously got Rhapsody, a musical adventure on there, which is a great little PS1 RPG that's become quite rare, so this is a good way to get it. And La Pucelle Ragnarok has never come out in the States, so this was its first official release. Yeah, cool little collection. Here we've got the Genesis Mini 2, and I specifically picked up the 2 because I like the game lineup. This is definitely for like weirdos like me who like a lot of obscure stuff, and I like this because it's got Sega CD stuff on here as well. But Crusader of Senti, which is like this really awesome Legend of Zelda ripoff, was a big reason I picked this up. But there's a handful of really other good games on here, and they added a bunch of stuff on here that was not originally on like Genesis and stuff, which is really cool. They really went out of their way. Dude, Truxton's on here. Viewpoint is like half decent. Alien Soldier is an amazing treasure game. Man, yeah, just looking over all this. Sonic 3D Blast, not bad. Splatterhouse 2, my favorite Splatterhouse game. Yeah, a bunch of awesome stuff on this Genesis Mini 2. And I think these like somehow got another like production run here in 2026, so if you want one of those, pick it up. Just kind of quickly going through some of this. Oh yeah, Ray's Arcade Chronology. Sonic Frontiers, which honestly, pretty good Sonic game. I actually really enjoyed it. I remember I picked it up, and then like a day later I got really, really sick. I think I got COVID or something for like a week. So I was off of work for a week and just sat there and marathoned through that game and had a lot of fun with it. Ooh, here's River City Girls 1 and 2 collection. This came out in Japan a good number of years ago, and it came out for the price of one game, so I picked that up. Stupid cheap. Fatal Frame 4 Mask of the Moon, or Mask of the Lunar Eclipse, I should say. That's a pretty good remake. Astral Chain, amazing game. Amazing gem for the Switch. You absolutely need to pick that up if you've not played it. Really good. You got Mega Man 11, Bayonetta 3. Let's talk a little bit about Blade Strangers. I can't remember if I did this in a pickups video or not, but really awesome little like crossover fighter that has like Umawari Kawase on there, Shovel Knight's in there, and a couple other characters from other games are in there, but really fun crossover fighter, kind of like a mix of Smash and just like a Street Fighter. Really good. I highly recommend checking out. It's not very complicated, really fun to play. Yeah, that's gonna kind of do it for this shelf. Also, we've got this big old Super Mario Wonder thing that they, or sticker sheet or whatever it was that they gave me when I bought the game. All right, moving down here under the shelf. I'm gonna bring us out in a wider lens here. A couple PSP games sitting here. that are sitting here ready to get talked about in pickups videos. Code Arms, awesome first-person shooter. Wipeout Pure, Extend Every Extra, which I have talked about, and the Third Birthday, which you'll be hearing a whole lot about here soon. Let's kind of move these down. Kind of just looking over my my NES collection here. A handful of these games I've had forever, a handful I've picked up over the years. Mega Man 3, personal favorite Mega Man right there. Oh man, we got Little Nemo, which has some incredible music. Sorry for the lighting here. I'm doing this all handheld, just kind of off the cuff. So, you know, kind of get what you get. Here's a really old game that sucks horribly. That is Predator for the NES. That game is terrible. And I wanted to pick it up when I was a teenager. It was really, I think my dad's dog fucking chewed all over Skater Die 2 here. You know what, kind of slept on game, Low G Man, the Low Gravity Man. Pretty fun little platformer, kind of janky. Dr. Chaos is kind of a bad game I love here. It's a really bad kind of like Goonies 2 ripoff. As there's like side-scrolling and like first-person kind of like adventure game stuff in there, but it's like kind of technically and loosely based around the horror movie known as House from 1986, which is kind of like a horror comedy movie. Really awesome horror movie if you've never checked it out. But that's kind of why I like Dr. Chaos. It also has a good title screen theme song. Here's my kind of beat-up copy of POW by SNK. This is actually a pretty good beat-em-up. Wheel of Fortune, which I guess has some like awesome music in there or something like that. Never actually played it. Of course, Mario Bros. Duck Hunt. Talked about picking this guy up somewhat recently. Down below. Oh yeah, here we got just a couple extra little UMDs. Nothing really incredible. It's Monster Hunter Portable 2. Winning 11, which is soccer, and then a UMD for Eureka 7, the anime. Yeah, nothing super crazy there. Amazing game right here. If you want a really good adventure game on the NES, Shadowgate, classic. Dragon Spirit, not a bad shoot 'em up, honestly. There are probably better versions of it, but the NES version is not bad. I almost said Little Nemo again. Little Mermaid, pretty good NES game, honestly. Rygar, which is an amazing NES game. Boy, do I have a story about that I'll be telling in some video at some point. Rescue Rangers, another Capcom classic. Star Tropics, which is, you know, a series that Nintendo desperately needs to bring back. Come on, give us a new Star Tropics game in big old 2026 or 2027. That would maybe make me want to get a Switch 2. Golf, who cares? Contra, absolute classic, one of my favorite NES games. Right next to it, Castlevania, another one of my absolute favorite NES games. Demon Sword, not bad. Golgo 13 is a weird little, like, action... I guess I would call it like a, you know, point-and-click adventure game. Really kind of awesome for what it is. Legend of Kage, which is the original game that Demon Sword is kind of the sequel to. Ninja Gaiden, classic, hard as motherfucking balls, but I have managed to beat this. Nearly fucking threw my console out of a window trying to beat that game. TMNT 2, just TMNT. God, I've had this game since I was a little kid. This is one of the games my dad had in his collection when I found it, and that was this and Castlevania 3 right next to it were the first two games we booted up, and we fell in love with them. This was actually my introduction to the TMNT when I was a kid. Castlevania 3, I guess I can't even say it's my personal favorite Castlevania anymore. It's my favorite, it's my most nostalgic one for sure. Right here, a game I talked about a long time ago in first episode of Bad Games to Love, Amagon. What an awesome cover to trick kids into playing a very, very mediocre game. Super Mario Bros. Duck Hunt again. Mega Man 4, kind of one of the like redheaded stepchilds of the NES Mega Man games. People like to give this one a lot of shit, but it's a really, really good Mega Man game. This is really the one where I think they kind of honed in the formula, and it's probably where the series technically, on an actual technical viewpoint, peaks on the NES. And there's a lot of really cool stuff kind of going on in the background of this game. Mega Man 4, go back, give it another shot. It's really, really good. And if you don't want me to like, or if I'm not selling you on this, go check out the Nico Evaluates video on why he likes Mega Man 4 more than he does Mega Man 2. He does a really, really thorough breakdown of really cool mechanics and stuff, and kind of what makes this game really interesting, and kind of honestly sheds some level-headed criticism on Mega Man 2. Yes, it's a classic, but it is a flawed classic when you look back at it. It just happens to be the most popular game in the series, and I would say deservedly so. It's a very, very good game, but it does have problems. It is not devoid of problems, and I think because, you know, how classic and nostalgic that Mega Man 2 is, a lot of those problems get overlooked and pushed aside, rather than actually taken into consideration, because I think a lot of the Mega Man 2 or 3 and 4 are just as good. Actually, I would say better than Mega Man 2. But, you know, hey, that's a whole discussion for another time. Handful of sports games, don't really care about. Monster Party right here, one of the few games on the NES that was USA exclusive, never came out in Japan. It was going to be, Monster Party Parody World, where it was going to parody a bunch of movies, and they had to take out all the licensed material, and we end up with this crazy, ridiculous, and almost nonsensical game that we have here, Monster Party, which makes it really unintentionally hilarious and funny. Punch-Out, classic. Pro Wrestling, classic. Excite-Bite's great. You got Batman right here, which is a really awesome game. Strider, which is a pretty neat port of Strider, because it's not really a port, it's kind of its own interpretation of it. Really, really cool. Skate or Die, 8 Eyes, Super C, of course. We gotta move the little fox skull here. For the record, I did not kill that fox or anything. This was gifted to me. Guardian Legend is a really... Oh yes, here's the problem of doing these things. Really, really awesome. It's a mix of like a shoot 'em up and like a Zelda-style action game. Highly underrated, still a fairly cheap game. Well, maybe it is, maybe it still is. I haven't looked at prices, but I think I picked this up for all of like, I don't know, $15, $20, maybe even less than that, a handful of years ago, but that was a part of a collector's group at the time. And then, of course, both Legend of Zelda games right there. Absolute classics. Alright, well, since my GameCube games want to jump in on the party here, I don't have a ton of GameCube games, and actually, it's kind of a shame because a lot of GameCube games just really shot up in price very quickly, so now it's kind of hard to even get more of them. Finding Nemo, again, I got this when I was a kid. Madden, that's my dad's game. Mario Party 4, not bad, just not a big Mario Party guy. Double Dash is probably my favorite Mario Kart game. Super Mario Sunshine, one of my all-time favorite games, for sure in my top 10. The best 3D Mario game, in my opinion. I know that's crazy, but it is definitely better than 64, and while I guess on a technical level, the Galaxy games are probably better than this, I love the FLUDD's mechanics and controls. I think that makes this game infinitely more interesting and fun to play. A couple Tony Hawk's games. American Wasteland. I actually have 2 copies of Underground because one of them does not work. American Wasteland, I feel like it's kind of a slept-on Tony Hawk entry in his series. Honestly, just a fantastic soundtrack on this one. Underground 2 is pretty good. I know a lot of people kind of herald this as like the best of the series. I think 3 and Underground 2, 3, and Underground really are the best of the series for me. Underground 2 is good, but I think it kind of loses focus of what makes the games a lot of fun. I think that was kind of really where they started to lose their focus. And then we have Zelda Wind Waker. Of course, you know, classic game right there. Loved the hell out of it when I was a kid. Alright, and then before we go from this shelf, let's kind of take a look at my very, very small N64 collection. Bomberman 64, the Japanese version. Fantastic game, my favorite Bomberman game. Turok Rage Wars, which is a bad game I love. Yeah, I've talked about this in a pickups video. Wonderful little, like, a multiplayer first-person shooter Turok game. That's it. It's just like a multiplayer game. Really kind of, like, janky fun, though. Alright, WrestleMania 2000. Come on, you can't not have the Aki Engine games in your collection as an N64 fan. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1. Shout out to my buddy Suri for giving me his copy. I remember staying at his, having to stay at his house for like a weekend when I was in like maybe like 9th or 10th grade, maybe even like 8th grade or whatever. And the little guest room I was in had a little tube TV, and he was like, here, we just take the N64 into your room and, you know, just play it. And I just remembered, like, when we weren't downstairs playing the games together, when I would go to bed at night, I would, like, cover the door and turn the TV all the way down and just play a ton of this game right here. And it was the first time I actually got to play it on console, besides from when I was a kid. and you're playing at other people's houses. Duke Nukem 64, a really interesting version of Duke 64, or well, Duke Nukem 3D. It has like some new weapons and some changes and stuff in there. Yeah, I would love to talk about this someday. Of course, we got to have No Mercy, cream of the crop there for that one. WCW Mayhem, honestly, a better game than most people give it credit for. Not terrible, but it is obviously not up to par with like WCW NWO Revenge. And then last, what do we got here? Oh, of course, GoldenEye. Can't not have GoldenEye. Okay, but we've got a handful of Atari and television games. Oh no, my Jungle Hunts label fell off. These are pretty much all my dad's and his brother's from when he was a kid. Same goes for my very, very meager Genesis collection. The only thing I've actually bought and added to it is this kind of dusty copy of Alien 3, which has some incredible music, and is basically just a better version of the NES game. However, the Super Nintendo version of Alien 3, highly underrated, really, really fun. Alright, here's probably... Actually, let's talk about... Just got a couple PS1 games here that I've been talking about here in Pickups videos. Oh lord, yep, see, this is the fun part about shelf collections. Everything just falls over. Super Tempo, or no, Tempo Junior. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that's kind of been crowded on this shelf because of video game pickups. You know, set it aside. It's like talk about it. But we got Ultimedius on the 360. Ultimedius, excellent. I've somehow ended up with 2 copies of this. I bought a copy by itself off eBay, and then about a month later, I found the special edition at a yard sale I was at. And not a yard sale, but basically a big sale I was at, and they wanted the exact same price for the super special edition with all the extras in it that I paid for this plain copy right here. So I'll probably end up doing something I don't normally do and resell that. Copy of Wet for the 360. I just got this. Have not played it. Really interested to check that one out. Dante's Inferno. I've played a ton of this since I picked it up. Really, really good kind of God of War clone. Really heavy on the quick time events though. It's very much of that era, but a really solid beat 'em up. Nice and fun. Soul Calibur 4 and Tekken. Talked about that. The Darkness you'll hear me talk about here recently, but fairly good kind of story-driven FPS game. Just recently picked this up for stupid cheap. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. I am like bending down to do this at a really awkward angle. I'm sorry if the camera gets shaky or whatnot. Aliens Colonial Marines. Just recently picked this version up because I actually did not own a physical version of this game, which is high-key, low-key, one of my favorite games of all time. It's fun. I swear to God, that is a perfectly competent first-person shooter. I understand the disappointment some people had for it at launch, because, you know, Gearbox's shady marketing tactics, but it's actually a really good first-person shooter, all things considered. Plenty of fun, arcadey action in there. Tenchu Z, yeah, I grabbed another one of the Tenchu games. This is, I think, maybe like the last one. Hoping that I would maybe connect more with this one than I did the first game. Not necessarily. They're just not games for me, unfortunately. Okay, Rumble Roses XX. Fun, fun sequel. I think there's Rumble Roses right here next to it, too. Yeah, both Rumble Roses games, competent wrestling games, but they are sleazy wrestling games. And they are basically the wrestling equivalent of the DOA Extreme games. DOA Extreme 2. This, I think my, grandma found this in her garage and was like, here, take it. And I was like, sure. I think it's basically how I ended up with all the PGA games. Tiger Woods, who cares? The original Dead or Alive Extreme. Street Fighter Anniversary Collection, Soul Calibur 2? Is that what this is? Yeah, Soul Calibur 2. Dude, I got this for like $5 at a thrift store, which is not bad. Pro Skater 2 Times, which is awesome. The first remaster of Pro Skater 1 and 2, done with the original engines, but on the Xbox. It was like a stopgap game because they weren't going to get Pro Skater 3 out on time for that holiday season on the Xbox. Pro Skater 3, my favorite game in the entire series. An amazing, amazing video game. If you can only play one Pro Skater game, Pro Skater 3 is the one. And on the Xbox, it even has an exclusive level, which is Oil Rig. Okay, here's the Doom 3 Steelbox Edition. I got this for $5 at that same thrift shop I got Soul Calibur 2 at. Then we got Pro Skater 4 there, which is Hey, look, it's a good game. I think the levels in there are fun. Honestly, I did not like what they did with story mode in that game. I think they would do it much better than this generic version I have of Tony Hawk's Underground. This is the far better game. Pro Skater 4 was the stepping stone that led to Underground, which really takes the kind of foundation that they set there and just built upon it in the best possible ways. And the next one is actually a booklet full of random Xbox games that I actually got when I got my original Xbox, as I traded a fully set up skateboard. I was like 10 or 12 or something at the time. Traded one of my old fully set up skateboards to a buddy of mine to get the Xbox specifically so I could play Pro Skater 4. And he gave me this binder full of books, and I ended up trading him my original PlayStation 1 at the time as well, which is why we have my PlayStation 1 Mini right here. This is what I ended up replacing it with just a couple years later, as I did regret getting rid of my original PlayStation 1 and the handful of games I had with it. Yeah, but that's gonna kind of do it for looking at this portion of my collection. Hopefully this has been kind of fun and interesting to watch. Thank you all for checking this out, and I will see you all sooner rather than later. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this episode, consider checking out these other videos right here, or even subscribing. Also, if you'd like to throw me a couple of bucks, you can support the show on Patreon.